welcome to another episode of 33 Fuel podcast. My name is Erika. I'm one of the co-founders of 33 Fuel Natural Sport Nutrition. Our guest today is a really special one. Her name is Rachel Muse. She is a performance chef. So yes, we are speaking about food and we are speaking about performance. She will share top tips on tasty, powerful meals for performance based on 20 years of experience as a performance chef for world best athletes. Our mission here at 33 Fuel is to give athletes the best possible tools and nutrition to be able to take the performance to the highest level. We do it by sharing conversation like this one, and we do it also in store at 33fuel.com, where you can find the best, finest, high-performance natural sport nutrition. But let's jump into the world of performance chef with Rachel Muse. Welcome, Rachel Muse. I'm very excited to have you on the show. You are such an incredible chef for performance. So shall I call it performance chef for the world best athletes? Let's call it like that because you are.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
So how did you become a performance chef?
Like most things in my life, pretty much by accident. I was working as a chef in hotels in London and places like that, and that was never why I became a chef. I became a chef not so people can choose things from a menu, but so you actually cook the food that people want. So I always knew that I wanted to cook for people rather than cook for a menu. And in, I'm going to say 96, although it might have been 95, I started cooking for households, for individuals, usually businessmen or businesswomen, and cooked lots of different places, cooked on boats, cooked on islands, cooked all over the place. And I was working for a family who, let's just say they traveled a lot, and I traveled with them a lot. People think that traveling with work is exciting. I would disagree with that. It's physically very hard, changing time zones, having to put breakfast on the table when you've only just arrived at midnight. It's physically, emotionally very demanding. And also when you're on the road, I was on the road for 10 years. When you're on the road, you don't have your support system to support you. You're by yourself. If you're having a bad day, you're having a really bad day, there's no one to support you or help you. You don't go home and have a bath and chill out. No. You're in some hotel room. Or you're in. There's no. You're just like floating. That you have no connections. But good days are great. You know, you drive fast cars, in and out of helicopters. They're great. But bad days, when you need the support, it's just not there. So you have to make your own support. And, you know, it's great. But eventually you're like, I've had enough of this. I'm over this. So I was working for a very, very full-on family who are French. Lots and lots of traveling. And there were issues at home. My father was unwell. And I got a call asking me if I wanted to go and cook for a footballer in Southampton. And I thought this would be great. No more traveling. I can be closer to home. I can live at home, which I hadn't done for 10 years. I didn't know anything about football. Nothing. Well, that's a lie. I knew about football when the footballers were on the front page of the newspaper for doing something that they probably shouldn't be doing. I didn't know about... No, that's all I knew about footballers. I knew about the scandals. I didn't know about football or footballers. So I thought, well, you know, I don't know about this, but I'll go and see, because you never know, and you shouldn't prejudge a situation. You never can tell. So I went and met this footballer who was playing for Southampton, and one of the most charming men, polite, organised, disciplined, and well, there we go. That's how I started to learn about footballers.
Fantastic. So how difficult, how is different, let's call it the major challenging to start as a chef and then for a family, so a kind of completely different cooking compares to the one that you had to do for performance. So performance chef, it will be, I would imagine, there must be some major challenging compares to be a chef when you became a performance chef.
Yes and no. Some elite athletes have, and this is not my phrase, some of them have won the genetic lottery. They are just amazing physical human beings. The way they process the information they hear and they see is different from us, and they are just designed to be, warriors or athletes, or they're designed to be very much in the physical world, and they are just put in, they are in amazing machines. They're the Usain Bolts of the world. They are just, in bodies that we don't have. They're just different bodies, different brains, different ways of processing the information. They're different from us, some of them. And those individuals are usually allowed to eat what they like, because, and this is, over the years I've seen so many of these people, they automatically do their macros, their proteins, their carbs, and their fats, and their fiber, to a level that is absolutely perfect for them, and they just do that naturally. There's some they are different from us. They can eat, quote unquote, what they want, but it will always be to these ratios. You can put out platters of, like a buffet of food, of salads and carbs, complex carbs, vegetables, meat, protein, avocados. You can put that all out, and what they put on their plate and what they eat will always be in the perfect proportion for what their body needs. And they're not doing it deliberately. They're not thinking about it. That's what feels right to them in their mouth and in their stomach, and that's just how they can just balance it out. They are, as I said, they are just different from us. And you could give them, a whole load of greasy food and a bit of salad, and they just proportion it the way that's right for them. It's amazing. I don't know how they do it. I would love to be able to do that myself. It's not natural for me. So there are some of these people who literally won the genetic lottery, and they magnetically eat the food that they should eat. And then there are other elite athletes who aren't in these magnificent bodies, who have to work hard at it, and who naturally don't eat the perfect magic formula of food. If you gave them a chocolate cake and some fruit salad, they just eat all the chocolate cake. Do you know what I mean? They're not magically putting the right ratio of proteins to carbs to fats into. They will eat like a normal human being. They will see something greasy or sweet and say, oh yeah, and eat a lot of it. So those people are very much under the care of a performance nutritionist.
Yeah. And
the performance nutritionist will write out like a spreadsheet of periodized nutrition, which is it's just a spreadsheet that you work to depending on which day of how close they are to a match. So there's usually match day -1, match day -2, match day -3, match day -4. Then the other side of match day, there's match day +1, match day +2 in a table. And you work your way through. You ask the athlete, okay, are you playing on Saturday? Are you playing, when are you playing next? And they won't tell you. And you have to say, look, I don't care. If you're on the bench, or if you're playing, tell me. I'm not going to tell anybody else. I just need to know in terms of your nutrition. I don't, your secret is safe with me. I don't, it's not going to go anywhere. And they go, oh yeah, I know I'm on the bench on Saturday. Okay, right. Do you think you're coming on the second half? Yeah, I'm pretty certain I'm coming on the second half. Right. Okay. So you work out on the spreadsheet where you are, and each day will have a different ratio of carbohydrates to proteins to fats. And so you cook according to that. So the magic of being a private performance chef is that you can cook what that individual athlete actually wants to eat and build it around the macros that the performance nutritionist wants them to eat, because that set of macros could be made into 1,000 different meals. So if you make it into something that the athlete doesn't want to eat, then they're going to be picking at it thinking, oh, I don't want to eat it, and they're not going to be on board with the project. Whereas if you make it into what they want to eat, and it's magically according to the ratios of the performance nutritionist, everyone's happy. The performance nutritionist knows the athlete is eating what they should eat. The athlete is eating what they want to eat. And so, all the boxes are being ticked like that.
That's very interesting, because of course there is a part of the athlete rebellious in a way that he says, oh, I just want to eat this, and he demands that because as a personal performance chef at home. So how do you manage to do that? Because of course there is from the point of view of the nutritionist, and he tells you what he meant to eat. But the other, how do you do the psychological side? They feel that I actually are choosing what to eat. Instead, in reality, you are helping them.
They are. The athlete is choosing what they want to eat. So that, they might want. So the classic example, the example I always use is, if it's supposed to be a day that's low in carbs, and the athlete says, I really want a lasagna. Well, I explain to them, well, tomorrow is a carb loading day, according to your timetable written by the performance nutritionist. Today is not a carb loading day. If you really, really want a lasagna, if that's what you're craving, if that's what your brain needs you to have, I will make you a lasagna, and I will put one layer of pasta in it, and maybe, some other layers of courgette or something like that. So it feels like a lasagna. Your brain thinks, I've had lasagna. But you've messed about with it so that it's much lower in carbs than a classic lasagna. But as you're eating it, unless you're kind of really unless you're a chef or over-analysing it as a non-chef, you go, oh, well, it's a lasagna.
Of course, it's very, very, very intelligent way how to do it. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. And you can do that with pretty nearly everything. You can mess about with the ratios of a dish so that it matches the ratios that the performance nutritionist wants the athlete to eat. Because really, it's not about calories. It's never really about calories, because an athlete in training and when they're performing will burn through any number of calories, 4,000 calories a day. 5,000 rugby players, 5,500, 6,000 calories a day. It depends on the sport. But so the question is, these calories should not be empty calories. So you should avoid white sugar, and you should avoid, hydrogenated fats. You should avoid those things. So as long as you're putting good quality nutrition into the athlete that can, nutrition rather than empty calories, it's always going to be beneficial to the athlete, even if the athlete has it in their mind that they want chicken nuggets. It's like, right, okay, you will have chicken nuggets. I will make you organic chicken with organic flour, egg and breadcrumbs, very small amount of fat. And if that's what they really want, if that's what they need to eat, then great, I will make it for them, because it's better that it's made for them in a really, really high quality way, then they go to some drive-through and get the greasy, low standard, low quality, low nutrition version of it.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's about the win is about the fresh food packed with nutrition. That's the win.
Definitely, definitely. And we're just thinking actually in this moment of the lockdown, probably that is a little bit of probably a challenge because of course the athletes, they are not consuming the same quantity of calories. They probably train, of course, what they can do, but they can't do just home training. So I would imagine that it can change a little bit of the performance chef recipes and things, you know. So you how you deal with the lockdown and how do you manage that elite athletes, the calories intake are appropriate for the lockdown, so for the quantity of activity they are doing now?
For all the athletes that we're looking after, because it's not just me, there's a team of us, and each chef is matched up to a player, and they stay, you know, like a married couple together like this for all season. Anyway, all of the athletes that we're looking after, they are all training really hard. They are, I think if you have your own performance chef, that signifies that you are really serious. So we tend to have, our clients tend to be the more serious, the more conscientious, the more disciplined players. So they are all like literally itching to get out and play. And they are, and especially as there isn't a date for the restart, I think everyone feels that the restart, that it could be, you know, it could be tomorrow that we're told when the restart is. And of course, everyone's got to be fit by the restart. So all of the people that we look after, they are all training. Okay, it's different from training at the club, but they're all training at home. They've all got their home gyms. Some of them don't have home gyms, and in that case, the club literally sent them all the workout stuff they could ever possibly need. So I think because there's so much that's unknown, a lot of players are managing the unknown by working out, by like pushing themselves harder, doing yoga, doing things they wouldn't normally do, because they want to be ready. The minute you know, the minute everything starts to not necessarily restart, but the minute we've got a timetable for the restart, they want to be ready. They don't want to, you know, turn up fat and out of shape.
Absolutely.
They are just you know, never in their life have they wanted to play football more, and so they're literally like a kid on Christmas Eve. They're just waiting. So I'm really okay. The training is different, but no, they're all of our athletes are training really hard.
So let's say that for our audience, that actually there are athletes, but they are not elite athletes. The majority are athletes, people they do seriously and they take seriously. But the lockdown is not actually easy subject in a way, because realistically there is this question mark. When we are going to race again? When will it happen? We are not sure. All the races, they've been postponed or in any case basically cancelled. So from the point of view for you as a performance chef, what do you advise for athletes that they train at home, but it's not exactly the same intensity, with the same intensity they do when they are training in the gym, or they are training with a personal coach? In this case, they can't have a personal coach because you can't meet a what do you advise how not to put weight and how do you balance the portion? Which kind of advice you can give as a chef?
Okay, it's a good question. I think that lots of yoga classes, lots of personal trainers, lots of people are putting their classes online. Quite often they're putting them online for free. So, obviously things like going swimming, that's difficult at the moment. Mountaineering, that's difficult at the moment. But cycling, running, all of those things are still possible. Walking. They're gardening as well. I mean, gardening's a great workout if you happen to have a garden, as is DIY. But I think this is a great time to reconnect to things that you maybe did as a child or did when you were younger and enjoyed. And because of a busy life and commuting and all these other constraints, they might have been forgotten. So if you used to dance as a child, then now is a great time to dance. If you used to do gymnastics as a child, now is a great time to do a bit of yoga. If you used to do, it's a good time to reconnect to the things that kind of passed through your life when you were, at an earlier stage in your life, and see if it's still something that you like. Because I think quite a lot of people have more time on their hands, literally the time they used to commute. For most people, there is no more commuting. And so that's time that can be put into cooking and rediscovering something that used to give you pleasure. Maybe you've got a guitar in the loft that's in the loft you never play. It can be all of these things. I think are very good ways of just kind of reconnecting, not necessarily with your sporting self, but your mental self. And so you do have a violin in the loft, you start to play the violin again, then that's going to light up your brain in different ways and make you aware of your body in ways that you have become slightly less connected to. So I think all of these things are great to do, even if it's jigsaws, anything, because that all helps keeping your brain moving and alive and seeing things and interacting with the physical world in different ways, which when you do go back out training, doing whatever it is, if you're a fencer or a water polo player, keeping your brain alive and stimulating different parts of it, how can that be a bad thing for when you do eventually go back to the training that you would naturally and normally do? You're going to be able to see things in a slightly different way because you have been practicing the scales on the violin, or you have been playing Twister with the kids. Who knows? I think all of that is helpful, and all of that should be embraced as a kind of wider training.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good point. Using the time we have in lockdown and learn new skills, or try to focus on your bike session, maybe on a turbo trainer, or do this all yoga lesson or high intensity training via YouTube. There are so many in reality.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. That is a very good point. What we notice a lot of with the athlete that we speak with, that there is so much interest now in cooking, because of course they have more time. They want to learn they want to spend the time on doing something that is not just a training, because there are so many hours in the day. And they want to go toward a clean food, a clean diet. So do you see the same kind of trend also on elite athletes, or is something that because they have the chef, they don't even care?
I think that that's a very interesting question. I think athletes, especially British athletes, have often come from environments where food was just fuel. As they were growing up, food was fuel. It was about calories, empty or otherwise, get it into you, and then go and play again. It wasn't necessarily about pleasure not that it was about horrible food, but it wasn't about, sitting around a table, having a discussion, discussing, these are nice avocados, they're nicer than last week's avocado, where did you get them? Which I think French and Italian and Spanish families might sit around the table and have those sorts of discussions. I think quite often British families don't have those discussions.
Absolutely, you're right. I'm Italian and we do that kind of discussion that you say.
Yes.
It's happening.
And I think that quite often the British footballers that we work with have literally food has been fuel, and come in from training, open up the cupboard, not even the fridge, open up the cupboard, eat a packet of biscuits. I feel slightly less hungry now. Job done. Whereas I think that the athletes that we cook for who are not British have a naturally more inquisitive frame of mind when it comes to food, and they will ask you, where did you get this? Not not in a aggressive way, just in an inquisitive way, and say, oh, these tomatoes aren't as good. Yes, well, it is. We're not in tomato season. These tomatoes are not great. Whereas someone British would just, shovel the tomato into their mouth.
That's amazing.
So, and I think that British athletes have a view that if their performance nutritionist is in charge, then you just eat what they've asked you to eat. And you like it or you don't like it. If you don't like it, you can cover it with ketchup or mayonnaise or brown sauce, and in it goes, because food is seen as fuel.
Yes.
And I've refueled. Good to go. And I'm always very open and very talkative about food and nutrition with everyone, but I don't try and ram it down their throats. If they're interested, or if they say this or they say that, or they see me doing something, they're like, why are you doing that? Oh, I'm like, well, that will make it sweeter, or that will make it softer, or that will make it this, or that will tenderize it, or da. And if they
so there is interest,
if they seem to be interested, I'll explain to them, acid will break down the structure of a muscle, and different muscles, if you're a cow, then different muscles get used to different amounts, just like explain to them, you use these muscles, as a footballer, you use these muscles more than you use those muscles, so these muscles will be tough on you. So if you were a cow and I was going to eat you, then I would tenderize these. Explain it to them in
it's a good idea,
simple way. Explain to them, like if you're cutting something, and show them the muscles, show the tendons, show the ligaments, show them, because they've been told about this and that, and they've felt it when they've pulled this or that. When you're doing it and you've got a chicken leg there right in front of you, you can show them, look, and this is how it moves, and if they're interested,
yes,
I like that, because that's the great thing about food, is that it's not a blackboard with arrows. It's it's a taste. You can see it, you can show it to them, and they can engage. Not in the blackboard with the arrows. They can oh yeah, it does make a difference if you tenderize the meat. Oh yeah,
absolutely. So can you give some top tips to improve the cooking for athletes in lockdown? Because as I said, now they have a lot of time, so they like to experiment. But as you can see, as you know, a lot of athletes they never really experiment with food so much. So how they can improve? Which kind of tips you can give to us?
Good question. I would say that probably probably everyone knows someone who can cook. Like when I say can cook, I mean, doesn't need a recipe. Might Google something, but just Google something, have a look at it, and go, oh yeah, and can go off and cook it and think, well, I'm supposed to have feta cheese, but actually I've got halloumi. Do you know what? I'm going to grill the halloumi. And someone who's got the confidence to do that. I think everybody knows someone like that. And I suggest you start, that is the person that you go to and start talking to and say, oh, well, look, I've got this recipe and it says hazelnuts. I don't like hazelnuts. Can I do this? Can I do that? And see what this person, the friend or the relative, who can cook, see what they suggest.
Yeah.
And I would say that it is about having the confidence to try, and it's also there will be disasters. People think that as a professional chef, it's always a success. I would like to refute that. Quite often, it's a complete unmitigated disaster. But from 2.5 decades of cooking, I know how to spot a disaster before it actually crashes into the wall and just hurtling towards the wall before you actually make the impact. I can usually pull us back from the hurtling towards it.
Oh, great! So how do you spot that before it happens?
Usually, that's a good question. Usually, something is far too bitter. Something has curdled, something has split. One of the ingredients isn't right to begin with. So the olive oil's gone rancid. So don't go any further with that. Don't make the olive oil into a salad dressing, because then the whole salad dressing is going to be rancid. You recognise before you start. So I would say, in general, cooking is about, if you want to have a recipe, great. But it's about tasting. It is about listening. I will taste, and people always, people wander into the kitchen and go, "What are you doing?" It's like you're working out a puzzle, and that's because I've just tasted something like that, and then I really listen to it. I don't just I've tasted it. It's like, what does this need? More sugar? Does it need more salt? Does it need a bit of acid? Do I need to cook it a bit more? Do I, it's what?
Fantastic.
What is this telling me? And it's the same. A lot of my friends are doing a lot more cooking than they would do normally, and they're all using spoons. And I'm like, why are you using a spoon? Why would you not put your hand in there? Like they're making burgers with mixing up with a spoon. Why would you not use your hands? Your hands are connected to your brain and will tell you about the consistency. They will tell you about the temperature and the consistency of the mix that you're making. A spoon is connected to your hand, but it's not connected to your brain. The tip of the spoon is not telling you how warm something is. It's not telling you how it feels. And so, yes, I would say taste a lot and do not be frightened to put your hands in. Obviously, if it's boiling hot, bad idea. But in general, let feel the food, taste the food, make it small adjustments. So if you think, oh, it doesn't taste as much, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, a little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of, whatever your favourite flavour is, cayenne pepper,
herbs,
smoked paprika, a little bit. Taste it again, and then listen to what your mouth is telling you. And also texture. Texture is really important. Crispy should be crispy, smooth should be smooth, and everything else should just be, whatever it wants to be.
Yeah, no, interesting. So that's a really good tips. So definitely taste while you're cooking. The touch of the food, so you can understand and get more the consistency. I really like that one. And of course, as you said, put an extra little thing. Maybe it's the sugar, maybe it's the herb, maybe it's lemon juice or whatever, but experiment on that. So very good tips. Thanks so much. So thinking about, the typical food is mood. So how important is food in lockdown? I would imagine you know that is one of the major things. Okay?
Yeah,
Everyone just think, what you are going to have for lunch? What are you going to have for dinner? I mean, just
yeah,
thinking about only food, food basically. So in
yeah.
terms of balancing comfort eating, boredom eating, and focusing on a diet that can help the mood, what do you advise?
Okay, well, the top tip for any good eating is don't have trash in the house. Don't have, if you know that you are a biscuit eater, don't have any biscuits in the house. If you do have biscuits in the house, make certain they're biscuits you have made. If you are the sort of person who can eat a whole loaf of bread made into toast with butter, don't have that in the house. Don't have it in the house. And instead, what I do is every morning I make either a fruit salad or a platter of fruit, so that anyone who's passing in and out of the kitchen and they're thinking, well, I'm a bit bored, I just fancy it. The first thing they trip over is a platter of fruit or some fruit salad. So
Fantastic.
that's the kind of, and if that's not going to do it for you, if you want to have a bit of cheese, you want to have this or that, okay, great. But so that's your, or also making, putting out platters of olives and crudité and guacamole, so that is the first thing that your brain, that your first thing you see, and your brain thinks, oh, could that fix this kind of boredom or tiny start of hunger? Could that be it? Yeah, it could be. Rather than opening up the cupboard, it's all there full of processed nonsense. Don't have the processed nonsense in the house. I don't have, also, especially with children, a fruit bowl is not, a fruit bowl is still work. You still have to recognize, oh, that is fruit. I would have to chop that up. I have to peel it. Blah, blah. Instead, have it as a platter. Have it ready to go.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. So one of the questions that we often actually receive from our customer, our athletes, is like, what can I have for breakfast? Breakfast is always a question mark. Which kind of, let's say, 3 top breakfasts? What do you advise? Or what you will prepare for your top athletes?
That depends on what their performance nutritionist wants, because we work very closely with performance nutritionists. I know a lot about nutrition, but only because I've worked with performance nutritionists for nearly a decade now. So I'm not in charge of that. What I'm in charge of is taking the ideas that the performance nutritionist gives me and making it into something fabulous, and something fabulous that the client, the athlete, is going to like. Having said that, I think I'm a big fan of fiber. Myself, I will have yogurt with, I don't even know what it's called. It's some sort of husk that expands, and that fills me up a lot. So
you mean chia seeds?
No, not chia seeds. Chia seeds, but chia seeds also work. But those sort of things that expand and have. I'll find out the name and send it to you.
Okay.
But it's like it's literally a husk of. Imagine a grain of wheat with just a husk rubbed off it. It's a bit like that. Anyway, so I think eggs are good in the morning. Things like vegetarian sausages, they've got quite a lot of fibre in them. And I have seen sausages being made. I think after you've seen pork sausages being made, you'll be less keen on eating sausages. Vegetarian sausages don't have that issue, though. Lots of fibre and lots of protein, a little bit of fat, but good fat is not bad, especially if you're going to be running around and burning it off. And also, our brains are made out of fat. Our joints are all lubricated with good fats. We need fat in our diet to a certain extent. So things like porridge, they're great. Eggs with something with a bit of fibre, and fruit. these are all good choices. I'm a sort of person that I like a bit of caffeine. So yes, some caffeine. I'm not a huge fan of juicing because I think juicing needs to be done you need to juice it and then drink it straight away. Otherwise, there's a chance it might oxidize. So all you're really doing is having a sugary liquid. The nutrition will have oxidized and you won't have much left. And also, when you're actually juicing, you've got the juicer there and they're like the container where all the fiber goes. That fiber, your body really, really wants that fiber. If you've got the time, you've got the effort, you make the effort to eat an apple, you're much better off eating the apple with all the fiber in it.
Totally agree.
Than juicing it and just, the fiber gets spat out that side and the sugary liquid comes out this side, which you've got to drink straight away anyway. I would say you're much better off eating the fruit than having the juice.
Totally agree. So to improve, there is another thing actually that athletes, they are always looking after, a good night of sleep. So if you, with your athletes, do you prepare something for the night for having a good sleep? What do you advise?
Again, I'm not in the position of advising. I work with the information given to me by the performance nutritionist because each athlete will have different requirements. Quite often it's low protein, low fat, high protein yogurt, the Icelandic yogurts, for like a protein hit before the athlete goes to bed. Sometimes we make little kind of protein balls. Sometimes it's the suggestion is that they have a milky drink or protein powder in something milky and warm. It really does depend on the individual athlete. And I must say that just for me, when I've been traveling a lot and I think I might have issues with going to sleep because I'm in the wrong time zone or I've got some sort of issue. What I do before I go to bed is I plank. I plank for a minute, about 3 or 4 times, plank on your elbows rather than the sort of. And I find that for me, that just also because it's conditioning. I know that means it's bedtime. Like a dog, hears the rattle of the lead. Dog knows, oh, that's a walk. My body knows that if I'm planking, then that means I'm planking at night. That means bed is close. Sleep time is close, and that just tires out my muscles sufficiently that when I get into bed, my muscles are like, oh yeah, sleep. That sounds like a good idea. Yeah,
interesting.
So even if my brain might not be ready to sleep, my body goes, oh yeah, ready now, let's sleep. But I think routine is important. People say no screens, no this, no that, but it's just it's not a like bed. It's like there's a winding down, there's a routine, and the last check of the phone, checking the front door's locked, there's that little routine and you follow it and you do it at a specific time rather than a random time. I think all of that helps.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely, routine is very important. And of course, not using the mobile just before going to sleep. There are some other tricks also, your mind, lights, and so many things. Speaking about the different kind of diets, because having a lot of different clients, so athletes that you're looking after, how difficult it is for you to, or in any case, if you can give us some ideas of interesting food to eat linked to specific diets. Like, for example, what do you think about, what you thought about keto diets that now is pretty very trendy?
Yes. Again, this is So, you have your performance nutritionist here and you have your performance chef here, that we kind of butt up against it. Now that sounds like it's like that, but this is the area of the nutritionist, this is the area of the chef. There's a huge point where we are constantly talking and sharing information, but this is the nutritionist's work and this is the chef's work. We talk and there's this this border where we're constantly discussing things and helping each other and learning from each other. But nutritionists will always tell you any diet works because of a calorie deficit.
Interesting.
That's it. That's it. And some things make you feel more full. So protein makes you feel more full. Fiber makes you feel more full. Some things light up your brain and make you feel happy and make you feel, I don't need to eat any more of this. Specifically, if you eat fat just by itself, there's only so much fat you can eat before your brain goes, I'm going to be sick, but like, that's enough. And that's why if you're a chef, when you even make a cheese sandwich, you will put some tomato with it, because it brings out the taste of the cheese, but it also stops that sickly feeling of too much cheese, which is the same way, ice cream is basically all fat. But if you put a bit of sugar with it, then that's enough for your body to just let you eat and eat and eat and eat. There's no cutoff, because there's none of that feeling of, I've had too much grease. So, but those are little tricks that go on with your brain in terms of protein helping you feel full, fiber helping you feel full, and try not to eat fat just by itself. And if you do eat fat that's warm, because warm fat makes you feel more sated. Just like, have you ever eaten cold chips? You think, they're not very nice, but you keep on eating them thinking, well, eventually they'll feel nice, but they won't. Whereas if you eat hot chips, like 4 or 5 of them, you're like, well, that's delicious, but I'm done. That's I've had my hit. Whereas a cold chip, you're like, well, maybe the next one will be nice. Maybe the next one will be nice. It never is. So if you even cheese, if you have a cheese sandwich, if you make for example, cheese sandwich, that will, if you put a bit of tomato with it, it'll be nice. You'll feel that it's an enjoyable experience. But if you make a toasted cheese sandwich, you can put less cheese in it and get the same level of satisfaction, because the cheese is hot, so it lights up your brain better. So if you eat fat, try and eat hot fat. Or a warm fat, it will be more satisfied. You'll be satisfied on a smaller amount of fat.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because of course the fact that you don't want to consume too many. So
yes, exactly.
Thinking about the immune system, because now try to help our immune system to keep it strong. From the point of view of a performance chef, there is any dish or something, any kind of meal that you prepare that actually help from that side?
I would say, as always, eat the rainbow. Like, eat as many different colours. Well, that doesn't mean Skittles, eat the rainbow. That means eat the naturally occurring colours. So eat lots of nuts, lots of fruit, lots of vegetables. Keep it exciting. Just, even if you love, say, grated beetroot, and you have that as a little side salad, so on most things. Yeah, but have days when you don't have that. Have days when you have grated carrot. Have days you think, oh, I love pine nuts. I could eat toasted pine nuts every day. Well, you can, but eventually you'll be bored of toasted pine nuts. So have different things, have different textures, have lots of different colours. Try eating things you think you don't like. You've never grated up a carrot? Well, now's the time. Grate up a carrot. See if you like it. See if you want to sprinkle it on something or have it in a bit of yogurt. Just try lots of different things in different ways. Maybe you think you don't really like melon, but you like Parma ham. So, let's try. I've heard people talk about Parma ham and melon. Apparently, it's amazing. Now's the time to try. Just do different things. Lots of seeds. Seeds are preferable to nuts, but nuts, seeds, things that are as least white as possible. So brown rice. If you think you don't like brown rice, okay, well, maybe you like egg fried rice. You really like egg fried rice, use the brown rice to make egg fried rice, because then you'll kind of disguise the fact that it's brown rice rather than white rice. Just, play around, take things that you think you don't really like and put them things with you do like, and see, hopefully that won't ruin the thing you do like. Hopefully that will encourage you to like the thing you were kind of averagey about. Play, do different things, see, Skype your friends in Australia, see what they're eating, and go, oh, I never thought of that. Oh, play, have fun.
I like that. Play, be playful.
Yes.
So you're a very playful woman. I really like that from the very beginning.
I'm lucky. I play with food. People pay me to play with food. I make the food they want. They smile. They enjoy it. They eat it.
Oh, great, yeah. It's a great satisfaction when you eat something that you like it. They can change completely your day. So
absolutely, yes.
I'm pretty sure that a lot of your athletes, they are really enjoying that moment. They can't wait to arrive in front of one of your meals. So it was a pleasure to speak with you. Really excited. Thanks so much to share so many information with us. Now, if people they wanted to find you, where they can find you? Do you have an Instagram or any social media?
I do. I've got my notebook with me, but I haven't got it. So anyway, on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, we are Talk, Eat, Laugh. All the important things in life. Drinking is optional. Talk, eat, laugh. We put out a lot of content on all those different channels, and I find it very interesting that even though all the performance nutritionists for all the football clubs in England, they've all got our numbers, but always they will approach us through Twitter or Instagram or LinkedIn. Always. It's like, you have my telephone number, you could just ring me.
The magic of social, the social, yes. That everything. Yes. We all get connected in that way, funny enough.
Yes, and I think that in this day and age, if you don't post for a day or a couple of days on whichever social media you're big on, people do genuinely think you've died.
Well, especially in this moment, yes. This lockdown, there is that chance. So let's not make it happen. So thanks so much, Rachel. It was really
It's been a pleasure. It's been lovely talking to you.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
You take care. Bye.
Here you go. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and please get in contact. You know that we are here for you. And check us out at 33fuel.com, where you can find high-performance natural sport nutrition. It's very tasty, powerful, and designed to make you faster, healthier, and happier. So check us out at 33fuel.com. Stay tuned for our next show.